think my lens is dirty. Seems a little foggy. Gotta fix that. Okay, there we go. The lens was dirty. It's distracting. All right, gang. So, surprise, I'm working on some Krampus masks. Now, it doesn't look like a Krampus mask yet. It is this job right here. But I will most certainly be turning that into a Krampus mask. So, yeah. And I'm going to give it these frickin' Mondo horns I made. These guys were ripped up today. I think that's going to be lovely right there. Get that one coming and going. It'll be great. I'm actually going to angle them a little more. But anyway, I digress. So let me grab a Sharpie. Because I want them to be a little more leaning forward. I made them with a very straight base so that these would just go straight up in the air, kind of. But I want them a little more forward now. So all that means is that I'm going to cut this about a ½ inch higher on one side than on the other. And now they should lean forward a lot more. Yeah, that's what I want. So yeah, this is how we do it. And I also want to have the maximum amount of gluing surface. So I'm going to take a razor knife and bevel this inside edge. That means when I warm this up, I can flatten it out and really get a lot of contact with the mask surface. This is dull. Dead to me. Okay. Hope everybody out there is doing okay. Hope things are good. Hello, everyone who is now saying hi, hi, hi. Hope everybody who has Thanksgiving has had a great Thanksgiving. If you don't have Thanksgiving, I hope you ate a turkey. At least had a bite of turkey. That's fine. So I can flare that out once I get it beveled. I'm taking off the inner edge of this horn. So, let me bring something up. You guys probably think I'm like a super outgoing guy and this isn't weird for me at all to be on camera. And I'm fairly comfortable. That's not that big of a deal. But I constantly wonder, should I talk to the camera like we're hanging out and like it's nothing? Or do I talk to the camera like I'm doing an instructional video? Because, you know, I walk the line. You know, certainly it's not instructional all the time. So, but yes, just so you know, every time I'm speaking to the camera, I'm struggling with, do I say something informative or do I talk about the X-Men movie that I like the least? You know, and it ends up being a mix most of the time, which works out okay. But it's not uncommon that I have to go back and watch my videos to get an answer for someone. Like they'll ask me a question, and the only way I can answer it is to see if I really did say that in the video that way. Yeah, but anyway. I'm pinning this on so that I can mark where it is. And then attach it. I want to mark it first. And I want them to be even. So this way I can make sure they're even, step away from them, come back, draw circles around them, that kind of deal. Okay. Let's go over here. But yeah, so there's a lot of issues and whatnot, and while I don't think I have any confidence issues, but you do always kind of wonder if you should say something different or say the wrong thing or whatnot. All right, so this one needs to go back further, far forward on the head. See how that does. So that's pretty good front to back. I like where that sets front to back. Looking at it this way though, one is on top of the head and one is really coming off to the side. And I feel like I nailed this one's placement, so I'm trying to get the other one to be at least that good. Yes, I've used Monster Clay and I like it. I like Monster Clay. Hello, Michael J. Lassiter. I do Facebook Live every now and then. Hey, Ezekiel, but normally I'll be on YouTube Live. Because the issue is that, there's not an issue, but with Facebook Live, it's hard for me to catalog things. Like I don't own those videos. They don't go on my YouTube channel. They don't go anywhere. I have to do them on someone else's channel. I don't have to, but I do them on someone else's channel so more people can see them. So I go Facebook Live every now and then, but normally I'll be on YouTube because when I'm done, it gets uploaded to my YouTube channel. That's why. There we go. Garth, thank you. I appreciate your support. Horn placement. How about that placement? See, this one is much further forward. That's right for there. That's right. That's pretty much right. I'll put it in. Looking at it in the camera. Hi, Dave. Hey, Psycho. All right, so I like Monster Clay. I like Monster Clay a lot. Of the oil-based clays, it's one of my favorite. I like Monster Clay Medium because Monster Clay Soft is pretty close to water-based clay. And if I want to use something other than water-based clay, I want it to be a little firmer. A little bit, it'll hold a little bit more detail, but not a lot. It's not massive, the difference. Now I'm marking it before I take this puppy off because I saw something I didn't like. I saw a rotation that was weird. You don't want to just throw your horns on and regret it later. You also don't want to spend all of your time jerking with the horns. I think that's it. You don't spend all your time messing with this and not getting your mask made. You know? Ah! Okay. Yeah, so I like Monster Clay Medium. My nephew and I enjoy watching your show. I plan on purchasing one of your masks. I plan on going to Transworld in March or whatever. March, yeah, that's a really good show to go to if you are interested in haunted houses. So Monster Clay, I like to use that. It's very waxy. It's a waxy clay, so make sure you have something to keep it warm, especially as we head into colder months. It's going to be a little bit harder to work with. It's going to be cold out. And I'm just drawing some symbols that will help me line up these horns. All right, so that'll help me get these horns back in the same position when I'm ready to put them back on. Now, let's get you guys back over here a little bit closer. Come a little bit closer. I don't know any of those words. That doesn't stop me from singing the songs. Psycho man, you're about to see me. You're about to see me stick the horns on. I'm about to do that. I'm doing it now. One thing that I don't like is I don't like to see horns that wobble. So I don't like having, they have to be well supported. Now these horns are EVA foam, so they're very light. I made the pattern for them the other day on the air, and I made several pairs of these now. They make me happy. They're the biggest, bestest horn you can get pretty much for the weight. And I'm actually going to cover these in liquid nails. So I have a latex mask, and it is set up on an EVA foam helmet. Okay, I haven't quite finished this because I put a little piece in here to keep this seam from splitting. And I put Velcro across the back so they can hold it closed and pinch it down on their head and hold it nice and tight. But this is an EVA foam helmet, and this foam helmet in here is what's going to keep these horns from wobbling. So it's going to be connected, well, not connected, it'll be touching all over the head though. So it has a real good socket for those horns. And I would rather glue EVA foam to EVA foam. So I'm actually going to razor blade out the latex there. So that I get connection onto the helmet from the horn base. Sorry guys, I'm concentrating with the razor blade so I don't cut myself. If I show blood on YouTube, they will demonetize my videos. Something I've learned. Even fake blood, it seems. Not a big deal to me. I'm not a real gory guy, but makes me careful when I'm working with the razor blades. I don't want them razor blades to jump out there and bite me. See, it's glued on really well, the latex mask to the foam helmet. But I wanted cleaner sockets. So now now it looks like that. How do I glue EVA foam to EVA foam? Well, I use contact cement. 90% of the time, I use well-glued contact cement. This does not have to flex. Doesn't have to flex. All it has to do is hold together. I don't want it to flex. I don't want it to wobble. So I don't have to use a fancier glue like Barge or anything like that. Good old contact cement. It won't hurt either that there's going to be a buildup of liquid nails down here at the base to solidify this. Yes, contact cement, latex mask to foam helmet, yes. I haven't really thought of doing any Skyrim items. Because I make original stuff. I don't do a lot of other people's work. I am blessed to be at a spot in my career where I can make a living from making original stuff. It's not 100% original. Like I had a theme park contacted me. They needed a Demigorgon because they knew that I would make one that an actor would be comfortable in and be able to work all night. So I was able to do that. But normally, I get to make monsters that I make up. Or that I help make up with with my customer. You know, they'll have an idea and they'll come to me. Last year at Trans World, I had a friend of mine who I've known for years. He came, he says, listen, I walked the whole show floor and I couldn't find anybody that had a good-looking werewolf mask with a movable jaw and gloves. And I said, okay, I can do that. So I made him one. I really love werewolves anyway. But that's more along the lines of what I do. I make what I want, I take it to the show, and then I sell it. Which is, in my opinion, not a bad way to be. Whenever you make something that you did not create, you did not invent, your hope is to be as good as the original. So it's very hard to surpass expectations. You know, the best it's going to be is as good as the thing you're making it after. So why wouldn't you want to make something that you made and you can make the best one that there is? In my personal opinion, to a lesser degree, I have some moral dilemmas with it. Someone else paid to make that character, item, whatever, popular and famous. Someone else paid to make that famous. They invested the money to get it popular, to get it known, to make people want it. And I don't feel necessarily right. Cash that belongs to someone else. That's theirs. Now maybe they're not making masks. They're not making whatever it is that they're not making whatever it is, and they're not selling it. So maybe there's a need. People want that thing but can't get it. I understand that. And people are filling a need when they do that. Sure. But also, you don't know. So you don't have say over it. And I like to have a degree of say over what I make. It's that easy, guys. That's how easy this is going to be. Now I'm going to put a little bit right around here to bridge that gap again. There's no gap, but just to... I'm going to put a little strip of foam around the bottom just so I can hold on to both pieces. Increase the surface area the glue can connect with. When you increase the surface area the glue is connecting with, then you're allowing friction to help the adhesion of the glue. Friction, surface tension, whatever. Sciencey words, sciencey words, sciencey words. Now I'm pushing this down, but I also need to come back and take a look at it from a distance. Okay. Now I trust these horns right now. Right now, I trust them. They're on there. This contact cement is amazing. Are they as super on there as they will be in 10 minutes? Okay. This is a smaller mask. Because it's for a girl. No wobble. They're not wobbling around. That's what's important. They're moving as much as they should for the size head and how much head work I put on my speech. There we go. Now. It's important as a mask maker you put your masks on every now and then. You got to feel what it feels like. Make sure it's not touching my eyes or anything like that. But, so this, you can go pretty far down, you know, that's a good seam. I can cover that up from here. I'm going to go a little step further with it and take a little more EVA foam, but I got to get a strip from the other room. Okay. I feel like something has come between us. As soon as you put horns on the Krampus masks, that's when they're hard to store and move around. But until then, not that bad. Add horns, poof. Pains in the butt. This is a thin EVA foam. And I'm just cutting about an inch wide strip off of it. I'm going to wrap it around the base of the horn, and I'm going to heat it up so that it actually touches both sides. Meaning the horn and the mask. So not only is the horn being glued down to the mask, but there is something gluing the horn to the mask. I don't know if I'm overcomplicating what I'm saying or oversimplifying it, but hopefully you get the idea. Okay. Those are slathered in glue, absolutely slathered. You guys feel like you can't hold your eggnog or something? There we go. That's better. That's more better, Joe. Now I could also just thicken this contact cement with Cabasol and just fluff that right in there and use that like a Bondo patch filler. Absolutely could do that. Now wet contact cement can activate the contact cement that I had down on here. So be careful that you don't put so much on it seeps in and deactivates the contact cement that you did. Because it's not fully cured yet. Hey Scott, good to see you on. Have I used clay foam? Yes, I have. It's okay. I think there's other ways to do things that are easier, and you get better results from other stuff. Cabasol is powdered glass. Nowadays, when I say Cabasol, what I really mean is I mean polyfiber. It's a filler. It's a filler material in order to make it thicker. And I actually have to, I'm going to need I could hit that with a heat gun, and I will in a second. But I'll grab a little bit of polyfiber and show you. But Cabasol, C-A-B-O-S-I-L, it's powdered glass. It's ground up glass. That's harder to get now because it turns out that when you use Cabasol, it's a very fine powder. It goes in the air and it goes in your lungs, and it's still glass, so it cuts the crap out of the inside of your lungs, and that causes cancer. So it's awesome. This is polyfiber. It's kind of the same type stuff. Sandy Waffle Bandit. All right, so I find it odd that someone named Sandy Waffle Bandit is asking for help with creativity. I don't. Creativity is what a weird question. Now, to help someone be more creative. To me, you know what? I'll do a really little bit of this. I'm just kind of showing you guys what it does. Creativity, boy. Yeah, so I got stuff to say. I'm sure you're shocked. I'm fairly opinionated. But creativity is, to me, it's problem solving. That's what it is. So in order to be more creative, solve more problems. In order to solve more problems, create more problems. In order to create more problems, see what I mean about deactivating the glue? You saw how well it was on there before, but now that glue soaked in, and this horn kicked over. There we go. Great. So create more problems. But don't be happy with the solutions that you have. Creativity is finding many ways to do that same thing. Maybe better ways. Now for these little strips to heat up, they don't actually take much time at all because they're so thin. I want to start it in the back, and I'm going over both. I'm going over the horn and the mask. I'm making sure it splits the difference. And now that I'm all the way around, I'm just going to glue back here. Because for contact cement to work, it has to be on both sides. That's how you get a permanent bond. So creativity. Don't settle for the solutions that you have. Find new solutions. If you know a way to do something, see if you can find a way to do it faster. See if you can find a way to do it cheaper, different, better, whatever. Just different. Different is the key, not even better. So I'm putting that on there. I'm splitting the difference. I'm keeping the middle of this piece of foam in between those two. So it's helping me hold this on. And all that is going to get covered by liquid nails, actually. And this is just Foamy's craft foam, guys. That bit is Foamy's craft foam. That's the Hobby Lobby craft foam that you can get. It's EVA. It's the same kind of stuff. It's a little softer. This is roughly an L200, and this is maybe an L100. And those numbers don't have to mean anything to you. That's talking about the density of the foam. So now those horns were on good before. Now now they've got another addition to them to hold them on. Oh, inspiration and mask making. Boy, you can always use, there's always movies, there's movies and there's video games and things, but I think nature is one of the places that I go to the most for inspiration. Because every situation, I'm a haunted house guy, so everything I do is kind of filtered through those terms and that language. Everything I create in my haunted house, it's already in nature. There's darkness in nature. There's wet scenes in nature. There's real dry scenes in nature. What is scary about those places, and what can I bring into it? But you also want to, there's Pinterest. Pinterest is huge, man. Hop on Pinterest, and whatever kind of monster idea you have, start a board for it. And there's so many cool masked things and whatnot on Pinterest, and not just masked, but fantasy art. Because the fantasy art, of course you can use that as sculpting reference. Anytime I am building a collection of pictures to start a sculpt, which is a morgue, anytime I am building a morgue, I end up putting in whatever the generic monster is I'm looking for, and then I put the word ZBrush after it. Because ZBrush is a type of sculpting. It's a computer-based sculpting, but they give these real detailed really detailed pictures of a sculpture. And often they'll have it, on 3 sides. So it's real good for looking at forms and things. And when you're looking at forms and things, that's all you're doing. You're not trying to steal, a whole design, but it's not a bad idea to, dang it. Hang on, I'm trying to find my liquid nails. No. Did I only have 1 liquid nails? I know I have more liquid nails. Special project. Oh, I found it. It's over there. Right where I was working. Hello, Charles Lee Ray. Long time no talk. Thanks, Scott. Glad you like my work. Sandy, okay. I only saw your second question before. Now that I see your first question, I can see I wasted a lot of time rambling and mumbling. Do you have any tips for creativity and inspiration for someone who knows how to make masks? That's you, but doesn't know what to make. I can tell you a couple things not to make. If you're going to make a clown mask, I will show up at your house and slap the clay out of your hand. Because there's enough of them. There's plenty. If you're going to make an old man mask, there's plenty. What do you like? What are you into? Once you figure out a design aesthetic that you like, it's not hard at all to create things in that design aesthetic. And then you will get a style over time. And then, because you have a style, it's easier for you to do things in your style, if that makes any sense. The best way that I can show you some of that is hop on Etsy. On Etsy, put in a latex mask. Just latex mask. Put that in. And look through all of them. Start the most expensive. And then click on the different shops and you'll see their design style. If you look at Pumpkin Pulp has a style to their masks. A lot of them are animal type masks. They're very grimy, they're very grungy. This isn't a dig at all, they're very simply sculpted because he gets the basics of the forms out. There's not a ton of skin texture or anything on it, but it's all beautiful work because it all fits in the same world. When you go to his booth at a trade show, all of his stuff looks like it belongs together. It looks like it's supposed to be up there on the wall together. There's a lot of artists that really have their own style, and having your own style helps tell you what to make. So I don't know, and there are some sculptors who are actually so good that they can, and they run into this problem more than people who aren't as good at sculpting. You can photographically recreate a sculpture or a picture or whatever. But when you do that, you're not developing your own style. You're merely copying what you see. So it is important to make some things on your own and of your own to develop that style a little bit. But dig around and then figure out what's important to you. Again, on Etsy, High Noon Creations, my friend Heather Henry, her thing is skulls. She makes skull masks. And she's got a cat skull, a bird skull, an antelope skull, an ibex skull. I mean, all these different animals and a human skull. And they're really nice urethane masks. They're nice. They're well done. They're well put together. And that's the bulk of kind of what she does. It's her style. Well, that tells her what to make. Because what doesn't she have when she looks at what she's making? Well, I don't have a gorilla skull. That'd be kind of cool. And I don't have an owl skull. That'd be kind of cool. So that helps inform what she's going to make. I I make a lot of stilt costumes and stilt monsters. So I'm informed by what's big and what, what would be cool on a big stilt character. That's one of the things that I go by. But I make a lot of stuff. So, and I have a sculpting style that people can identify, but I don't necessarily make the same kind of stuff over and over. But I can't handle that. I don't do that good. Hello, Line Cook Thor 2006 and Thuring Wethel 93. Wethel 93? Hi, 93. I might just call you 93. But anyway, I have to find something. That's not it. Oh, this is it? I think this is it. This is it. And this is it. These are my horn finishing tools right there. See how this is a smaller version. This is a smaller version of this. Yeah. I want these to be coated in a hard plastic. So I'm putting liquid nails on them. Because when liquid nails cures up, it's pretty much a hard plastic with a bit of flex, which is exactly what I want from this. So out of the tube, I just put some on. I'm spreading it around. I'm bringing it down onto this base that I put on here. This will be that like bone buildup at the base of the horn. And all these little EVA foam seams and whatnot, they're going to go away. And as I brush it up, I'm picking it up on my brush, and then I can put it wherever else I need it. I'm leveling them out because my EVA skills are not exactly perfect. So, my seams aren't seamless. There are imperfections. One side might be a little higher than the other. That's okay. This is going to hide it. Or now I am hiding my crimes. All my little screw-ups, everywhere I didn't, perfectly level out this EVA foam. I'm making sure that you can't see that. This liquid nails. So there are times when I can look at messages and talk and whatnot, and there are other times when I kind of have to concentrate a little bit. I get quiet. Sorry. But you can see I'm actually pushing pretty hard on this to get this liquid nail spread around. And this is liquid nails, heavy duty. Doesn't matter. It could be special projects. Could be regular liquid nails. All of this stuff dries with some flex, but becomes, you guys have picked up liquid nails that has dried before. When I was talking about the wrong kind of creativity before, this is kind of what I'm talking about. When you pick up something like a dried hunk of liquid nails, think, what can I make out of that? Could that be a bone? Does that feel like bone? Does it look like bone? Would it save me painting time to make something that's supposed to be out of liquid nails. So I have this horn pretty much painted in liquid nails. Now I'm going to add a little bit of texture to it. And I can add the texture. Hello, wife.
Hi, you got these.
Oh, I did. I'll throw them in there.
Okay.
Thanks, baby. Okay. All right. So, cha-cha-cha-cha. Remember, teeth. This is the ridges in the horns. And I'm not like super duper fighting to get, it's just a sculpting tool. This is from Princeton Artist Brush Company. And there's just a little set of them. This is a Catalyst Contour C-24. Catalyst Contour C-24 from Princeton Artist Brush Company. Now for the back edge of the horn, this is too wide because the curve is tighter than that. That's why I made this one, just with a Dremel. I traced out what this head looks like, and then I Dremeled these things into it. And this way I can handle the inside of these curves pretty well so that it's all ridged all the way around. Now if they don't match up exactly on the front and the back, that's no big deal. It's actually a little bit more natural if there's like, a ridge line or something running down them. I will also on occasion do one layer like this, let it dry, and then just put the thick beads around it like the ringed ibex horns or whatever. When I make fake books for haunted house libraries, I cut 2x4s to length for the shelves. That's the back of the book, And then I'll run 3 or 4 beads of liquid nails along there, like like the book bindings, the way that those look. Okay. So that's that one. That one's done. I'm gonna do this one, and then I'll have to let this mask set for a good while this liquid nail sets. Work dry as long as you can. You want to make stuff fast. Work dry for as long as you can. As soon as you have to wait for something, as soon as you work wet and you have to wait for it to dry, it slows you down. I'll be right back. Okay, it's 9:45. Thought it might be a little faster if I used my hand. Best tool you've ever got. Right here. Now I'm careful where I set my hand on the mask because the liquid nails will stay there. Blech, pudding. Could you paint the horns with latex instead of liquid nails? Absolutely you can. Sure. But it won't give you any excess rigidity because latex is floppy. So I want to add a little bit of rigidity. So let me be clear here. In general, it is tough to add rigidity to something that isn't rigid, especially by hard coating it on the outside. There's a reason why most creatures have their skeleton on the inside. That's where that support is needed and works the best. So it's not as effective to add a hardener over top of something like I'm doing right now as it is to just have a hard interior structure. But you can also get lighter things like insects, you know, by doing it the other way around. At some point, this will be diminishing returns because I won't be able to get this hard enough to support the gooiness on the inside or the not firmness on the inside. But I digress. Anyway, I could use latex, and that would give it a rubber coating, sure, but it won't add any strength to it. So I want to add some strength. So yeah, all right, coated, faster man. So that's just leaving these nice ridges. I had another mask in here with this style on their horns, but they had much thicker horns to begin with. They had my more Minotaur style horns, and these are my more scimitar style horns. But it's a good look because you know I can stain these, and all of this will. All these little ridges will pick up stain and detail and all that. Now I could also, there's no reason why I couldn't run my ridges this way. And that would probably be a million times easier. But that's not how I do it. Did it mess me up that I just did that? No, not at all. So I'm just taking what's here and I'm redistributing it. It's like a little curb forming tool almost. See, I kind of want that ridge right here where both sides meet. I like that. I think it looks nice. These are getting there. Once again, I'm hitting the interior curve, so it just needs these smaller teeth. And I just trace the scallops from that tool on this stick, and I use the Dremel to sand it away. Now I'll come back here in about 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes, when this is tacky and firmer, and I'll brush it down. So all these real, like, unnatural pull bits that make it look like batter or frosting or whatever, anywhere there's stiff peaks, we'll call it, I'll just go in and brush that down. I already really feel a difference between the one side and the other. That's a lot more draggy. And just my excess table spooge, I'm just putting it between the two up here on top. All this is covered in hair, so I don't mind, but if I can connect these two, one piece is almost always stronger than two. This part's gross. That. Just thin that out that way. Okay. So that mask is set up. As much as I can do to it for right now, I'm going to set it over here on the other side of the room. That's done for me. All right, so before I was working off of, I was just making krampuses. Make krampuses. But now I'm at a point where people have to get their orders at a certain time. So now I am looking at my list and saying, okay, what do I have to make next to make sure everybody gets what they need on time? Always in my notes is when they need it by, because that's important. Yeah, the horns look pretty good when you're done with them. I'm very happy with the finish on those horns. So I need this to be finished. I have a Krampus mask there with LED eyes that I have to do. Okay. Boom, shalaka-laka. And I actually have one that I want to freshen up. And that's in the other room. So why don't you guys just come with me. I'm going to unplug you. Is there a Sika foam question that I missed? I'm not very observant, I'm afraid. We're going into the other half of my shop. Hello, Aqua Lover Show. Yo, what up, homie? Fondling, yes. Actually, on my YouTube channel, I actually use, I make a bag mold for horns, and I make horns out of Sika foam. So yes, you can use that. Those are great for horns. It's a very tough foam, and it's durable. Um, so yeah, you can use it for horns. I do. It's great. You see, I have to get over here where all this stuff is. Part of making things for haunted houses means you never have enough space. Let's get this guy out of the way. What is this? Not the one that I need. What are you? Not the one I need. I'm really lucky, like the one I need will be like right here. I'm not really lucky. Totes, why they gotta be totes? Because it's not stuff I use all the time. Therefore, it goes on a rolling shelf out of the way until I need to get to it. But everything is on wheels, and that's a good system as long as your floors are clean. If your floors are dirty all the time, being on wheels won't help you because you won't be able to get it around anyway. Aha! What I have here is kind of a demon mask, which is also a Krampus mask. Same sculpt. So I'm going to use this as the base in order to make another one. Yeah, you can actually put it into the EVA horns, no problem. They're hollow, just pour it in there, and that'll add you a strong internal base. Good night, Scott. Okay. Close this door up. You've seen all the videos. The stream is probably choppy for everybody because I live in the woods. Like, I literally live in a cabin in the woods. So, sorry. Just trying to catch up. There we go. Okay. Great. Super. Now, what I have to do here is, now see this hood is set up for this mask so that the ears stick out and the horns stick out of the hood. So I'm going to remove that hood. Yeah. Hello, Richard. There is a couple horror movies that start that way. And my life starts that way. Okay. I'm doing some mask surgery now. So if mask surgery bothers you, look away. Now these horns are on here very well also, but I want to change these horns out. These are not contact cemented on. These are on with a little bit with this. These are on with silicone caulk. Now they're pretty stable, but someone determined can get them off, which is anything. Anyone determined can break anything, really. And this has a different wiring setup than I do for my krampuses, so I'm just pulling all of this off and out. And even since, like last year was the first year that I debuted my LED masks for haunted houses. Well, even since then, I've changed how I do things. It's part of that creativity, wanting to do things better all the time. So it's a different wiring process. But I am going to keep this little setup because this kind of tells me how long things need to be for my setup that I have to do. But anyway, I digress. I digress and I'm darn good at it. I've got an A- in digressing. Another pair of horns like this. This is probably what I'll use. Okay. Yeah, I move around a lot, so sometimes it can't keep focus. So sorry about that. Hey, Horror Beauty, good to see you on. If all else fails, dissect it and use it for prosthetics. Well, that's kind of what I did the other night. I ended up taking this mat. Well, I'll show you. This is an elf mask of mine. That's my elf mask, elf, leprechaun, whatever, that's what they are. That's what they look like. They're no bigger than that. This, see that same sculpt in there? Same eyes, same nose. That's it, same mask, same ears. Well, that's actually two masks that I put together And the seam is, of course, hidden by hair, but this mask stops right here because I wanted this chin and teeth, but I wanted this brow piece on it. So you can put masks together all the time. Doesn't matter. Changes a little. It's fun. But it's a way to change up something you've already done. So, I'll tell you, my first couple hours in the shop tomorrow is just going to be me cleaning because I can't find anything. So, that stuff away. Why aren't I cleaning right now? Because I'm not cleaning now because that would be really unsexy television. You don't want that. I had an LED that was out in this eye, and I just want to test and see if it's the LED or if it was one of the connections I previously cut away. If I had to guess, I would guess it's a connection right there by the eye, because one of the hardest parts about this design is getting the wires from here to there without an actor being able to tear them up. Because actors are really good at tearing stuff up. And I'm just going to test this here real quick. Yeah, so the resistors around the LED, you can't bend those. And they have to come in and out of here at an angle. So now it's just a matter of pulling that LED. I'll show you what I'm doing. So socket for it. It's a little socket. And right there is where this was bent too much. And it snapped the lead off the resistor. The wire is nice and bendable, but the resistors often are not. I pulled his eye out, man! You'll pull your eye out, you'll pull your eye out. I will. Now I come over here and I grab another one. So, what's happening is I keep dropping signal. If I drop signal like 2 or 3 more times, I'm going to call it for the night because it's not working. Can you put the resistor back at the box instead of I can. Right now I normally use pre-wired LEDs because if I actually add in the time it takes to solder them together, it takes more time for me, and then I have to charge more for the mask. By buying pre-wired LEDs, and I just about have it licked because now I put all the masks on foam helmets, and when they're in the foam helmet, I have an extra one sitting right here. When they are in the foam helmet, it's not as bad of a turn as it is getting around the actor's head, just for some reason. But anyway, so this is actually going to get mounted onto a foam helmet. for right now, I'm cleaning the mask off of the silicone that was kind of a sealer. Yes, latex bonds to itself. Yes, and now that they're all going to be on an EVA foam helmet fondant, I will just build a little battery box. That exact same way, yes. On latex, it's a little harder. I actually tried molding one in. Didn't work so good. I mean, it worked, but it made the molding process take longer, the pouring up process. Now you can see here that this is silicone caulk, and the pliers will just peel this off. It's a pinch at a time, so it's on there pretty good. But the latex is much stronger. It's a much higher durometer latex. It's very important as you do a lot of this stuff to learn materials and their limitations, what you can get them to do, what you can't get them to do. I think a lot of people's frustration is actually over a poor materials knowledge, where they're trying to get a result from something that's meant to do something else. See, all these little, where these zip ties were, those just go away as soon as I pull the zip tie out, basically. I will leave that battery pack up there because I'm going to be adding a battery pack. Now, this mask was worn for, I think, a couple hours at a trade show as a demo. So this mask hasn't like lived a hard life, and I'm going to repurpose it for something else. But I just wanted to use this sculpture for Krampus. And that is actually not uncommon at all for me to do. Take a mask that is dying or didn't sell and then change it into something else that will sell. Part of that, when someone asked earlier, how do I know what to make? Not even I know what to make. Sometimes it just doesn't sell. But I know how to fix it. Okay. Let me see if this will help. All right, that's probably clean enough. Let me get this onto a head. Get the back of this split. It was never split. and I've molded in. I put eyelets in the mask, in the sculpt before I molded it, okay? So then they come out with molded eyelets in them already. And then all I have to do is go to the back side, nip off these little bubbles, and I have eyelets fit for lacing in my mask. Because when you put a metal eyelet into a latex mask, it always will stretch out. The hole gets bigger than the eyelet because latex stretches and metal does not. You're only using the eyelet to reinforce it, so you might as well just do it with thick latex by molding it in my humble opinion. In my opinion, whether it's humble or not is probably up for question. Hi, everybody. Latex in a vacuum chamber. That doesn't sound fun at all. That's for silicone, dude. But anyway. Let me grab a head form. There we go. So also, what I've got here that I don't like is that's an unnatural wrinkle right here. I want that to be the way I sculpted it, and I didn't have it sculpted with this mess in it. So I'm going to use the heat gun and alter it. I get a lot of questions about this because a lot of times when you buy a mask, it comes messed up. Really? Because they crumple it while they're shipping. The big question is, can I get this to lay right? If I can't get this to lay right again, then I'm not going to sell it. I'll sell it, but it'll go in my $30 bin as opposed to a Krampus mask, which should go for much more than that. Just some heat. That'll help this relax. Don't have to get it blistering hot, just kind of warm it up. There we go. Okay, that is relaxing. That's what I want to see. I want it to see it relax. There we go. That unnatural kink is out of there in that part of the neck now. That's better. just sort of relaxes and it's opening up. That's what you want. Okay. I'm actually going to work with this one on a different head. To make sure that all that bias is out of the latex. Okay. Leaving it on here for a little while and having it be trained into this shape will help that. Cool. Now, Psycho Axeman, I really appreciate you throwing money at me like that. Thank you. That is very kind. It is not necessary, but I do appreciate it. Now, Psycho, you make masks, I assume, correct? You make masks? Oh, yes, that was actually one of my references, Horror Beauty. Calibus from Clash of the Titans, the 80s one. That was one of my references because I think he has a really good, like, quintessential demon look to him. So I'm going to put these horns on this guy. They're going to go roughly here, so a little higher up and closer together. Yeah, I like them right about there. That's what I'm going to do. But so first we got to clean. Actually, I'm not proud. That's very true. I'm also not shy, but got to stay within those YouTube family policy guidelines. Currently, I'm looking around my shop for the naphtha, which Rob did not put away. This one I can clearly blame on Rob because it's his fault. Again, this is naphtha. Don't get it on your hands. I'm putting on gloves right now. Now, truthfully, don't breathe it either. This stuff's not good. You don't have to. Don't use it. But it's so useful. Trying to set my naphtha on the same table as my heat gun, just in case. Okay. Tell you what though, Axeman, do me a favor. Next time you're compelled to give, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me exactly what tip, what sentence compelled you to say, hey, that was worth 10 bucks. Hey, that was worth 20 bucks. Whatever, you know. Because that will help me next time that I make like a mask making DVD or whatever, which I'm working on a mask making DVD for sure. So what am I doing right now? Right now I am naphtha-ing this whole head so that it's clean. I want a nice clean surface that I can glue to, because I'm going to repaint this. This is going to get a new paint job. It's going to get, a lot's going to happen to this guy. His life will change. It's like he's at the shelter right now, and I'm teaching him, and then he'll be an inside dog, and that'll be great for him. But I got to make sure that there's no dust on this. I got to make sure that, now, this is naphtha that I'm rubbing vigorously on this. And I don't have a lot of mask paint coming up. That tells you what a good formula this 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 mix is that I paint these masks with. It's just such a good formula. It really stays on. 1/3 distilled water, 1/3 casting latex, and 1/3 latex house paint. You can use acrylic. I use latex house paint because that's how it was taught to me by Ed Edmonds of Distortions. If you want to see me get mad, you say something bad about Ed Edmonds, because that's one of the nicest dudes on the planet. I'm actually rearranging my schedule, and like I do a lot of training in the summer months. I'm rearranging my schedule to make sure that I can make it to Monster Day in Greeley, Colorado next year, because I want to see that. I want to go and suit up and play a little bit. Now the silicone is pretty chemical resistant. It's one of the good things about silicone, but I also still need to get it off. And the naphtha should help debond it a little bit. This is not iron grip. This guy was made before I discovered iron grip silicone and how great it is at adhesing things to other things. So perfect. So what you're seeing is you're seeing me rework something that I made, didn't sell. I brought a line of stilt costumes to Transworld and MHC. And the whole line sold well. But this particular one, the demon costume, did not sell. No one wanted to buy a demon. So I has a demon. Sold a couple of the Krampus variants, of course. Sold some other things, but not this demon. So now, I feed him. This is the same sculpt as 2 or 3 masks over there. I think that's going to be it. Boom, shalakalaka. Let me bevel the inside of these horns. razor blade. I'm just trying to knock off a 45-degree angle on the interior so that I can flare this out a little bit and get more contact with the head while I glue it up. But first, for the EVA foam helmet, I have a little much back here, so I'm going to change how this is. Go. So I want this to sit on that EVA foam helmet well. Naphtha rags, be careful with them. Don't leave them in a pile or they could explode. There we go. The other eye, never replace one headlight at a time. Always replace both headlights, because if one just went out, the other one is probably going to go out. Like a car tip, but it works for masks that have LED eyes. Good night, Michael J. Lassiter. Oh, very cool, Psycho. The hot glue with the gums. I use that trick all the time. I use it on these masks even. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Calibus is my favorite characters. He's rocking. Let's grab some LEDs for these eyeballs. They are in my cart that's over here. These are red, amber, orange, yellow gold, pure green. I don't think I want the Krampus to have green eyes. Pre-wired red. Flickering yellow. The flickering ones I think are really cool. So yes, I watched Stan Winston School. I'm a member. Absolutely. I I may at some point be teaching a class for them, which would be really neat. So that flickers. It doesn't flicker a lot. But it flickers. Kinda neat. Now, if I put them both on here at the same time, will they both flicker? Let's kill the lights. Jeeves, let's kill the lights. What's funny is the lights went out and then it stopped. Do you think those would make good Krampus eyes? Is that a bit of flicker that they've got? I think I'm going to go with these. I think they're yellow, yes, but I think that little bit of flicker will give them a nice feel inside of there. Have I ever thought about using hot glue to diffuse the LEDs and give more glow space? I actually do. The pocket that I put them in, I actually fill that with hot glue. So yes, I do that. Yes, I do. I don't know if Jim Henson's son has a school or not, but that would be worth going to if he did. I am studying. I also will sand down the end of the LEDs to diffuse it a little bit more also. What ends up happening is there's a pattern. You know, I'll show you. Come on. Let's go over here. It'll be fun. My shop is full right now. It's the middle of monster season. All right, so let me sand one of these down. I caught you. Am I upside down? You meant to form a rounded eye shape. Yeah, but there's a limit to how much that I can naturally have right here by the actor's eye. So I have to be careful of the space and how I use it and what effect on the actor. So I had originally like eyeglass frames, and then there was a piece, but it's not comfortable. So I have to, whatever I do, I've got to find, it's got to be comfortable. Oh, I was going to show you this. let's get to a flat wall. I'm coming. All right. So just dropped my battery. Hang on. There we go. I'm here. I exist. Okay, right now you're watching the dark screen of darkness. So this, can you guys see this wall? Come closer. See that? See that pattern that's in there? That circle and that dot and stuff? This is the unsanded LED. So that has a arc and a throw of a certain type. Now this one, hang on. This one is the one that's been sanded. See how that's less pronounced? You don't have that ring. It's more diffused. It's not that hard ring on the edges. Oh, wait. This one is the unsanded one. I'm sorry. This one is unsanded. It's hard to do this in the dark, guys. I'm sorry. So when they are sanded, they diffuse the light a lot better than ones that are not sanded. You get a hard ring, you get hard lines when you don't sand that tip flat. Doesn't take a lot. Just takes about that much. See how one's flat, one's round. That's all. Okay. Back to these. Now I have to sand this other one. It takes a second. I'll be right back. After you sand it, always make sure it still works. Because I have sanded them so much I killed the diode. But it do. You know, $1 million puppet would be a fun build. That's true. No, the sandpaper grit doesn't matter. It'll just take longer on a higher number than it will on a lower number. Static props. Yes, I have done that for static props. Absolutely. Horror Beauty, you're welcome for catching you when you fell. I caught you in the crook of my elbow. It's great. I'm struck by this piece of latex that I trimmed off the back of the mask. Could be like a, I don't know, but I'm throwing it away.
Because I don't need it, man. Got all these things. I'm just not needing that thing right there.
That's good. Okay. That's how I lost my apple cider. Rawr. So opening up the back of this more so that I can put it on the helmet a little better. Its seating on the helmet is more important to me than the back of the head being made of latex, because that's all hair anyway and connection. See, without the LEDs on, the eyes look a little weird. So that will do very nicely. Sorry. We're going to do a little bit of electronical work because I have to get the lights to work and such. So I'm going to use my Sharpie and mark where we're at. I'm marking, of course, where the edge of the mask is landing on the helmet. And I'm putting some diamond shapes. A circle and an oval. Okay, so to make sure that that doesn't slide, see, that circle has to match up, that diamond has to match up, and that oval has to match up. Yeah, I'll probably go tonight till about 11:30 myself. That's my guess. That should be enough time to get this wired up and the horns on, because right now it's 11 o'clock. I should be able to do that. The eyes will obviously hang down. I marked not on the mask, but on the head bust. Marking the ear holes, so I just get them cut out. I like to hear when I'm wearing a mask, so I assume that anybody wearing my mask is also going to like to hear. Okay. Now I can wet willy myself, and I can hear much better. It is good to be able to do that. Goodbye, Baba Ganoush. What a sentence. Okay, so yeah, I look a little weird in this. Just grabbing some of the things I need. Okay. I am having such a hard time tonight just finding the stuff that I want to find. Of course, as soon as I move you to go look, here's the roll of wire that I was looking for. Tomorrow is definitely a cleaning day, without doubt. A clean shop is a happy shop. and you work faster because you just know where stuff is. Still prepping over here. Don't mind me. All right. So I'm sure that there's like a number of people who watch me just silent. They're like, I don't want to hear him. Turn the sound down. That man's crazy. That's fine. I'm good with that. Okay, so I am gluing the bag down that'll hold the battery just with hot glue, but with the resin impregnated hot glue, and I've made it so you can't see anything that I'm doing. I'm a jerk. "1930s pilot." Yes, I can see that. I always thought Michigan was a pretty state. This is a pretty state. I like a forest. I'm a forest guy. I'm not as much a beach guy. I like mountains and forests a little more than I like the beach. My wife likes the beach. So I tricked her. We live in a cabin in the woods. When we go on vacation, we go to the beach. Ha ha! This is a great little wire stripper that my friend Scott, not any of the Scotts who are normally on here, told me about. That's what he recommended, so I got it. And it does work pretty great. Safer than doing it with your teeth. So the electrical part of this is not difficult. Is anybody watching and paying attention? Because 30 people are watching. Hopefully 10 are paying attention. Is anybody who's paying attention have not wired LEDs before? I'm happy to talk you guys through that a little bit if it's something that you haven't done and you think there'd be a little bit of value. I have speaker wire. I like the speaker wire that has copper on one side and steel or aluminum or whatever, silver on the other side, because I always do the copper to the red wires. And once I do that, I don't have to worry about what's the polarity or what got switched or whatever, because there's a red wire off LED, there's a red wire off of the battery thing, and copper is a red colored metal.
It's like I planned it.
Okay, there's that one cut and stripped. Here's the other one. Let's put that wire somewhere else now. Yeah, I may have to resculpt these masks down the road if I have issues with wires breaking the LED, with actors breaking the LEDs. I haven't, and I talked to several of my customers for these guys, and they didn't. No one has said, "Oh yeah, all the LEDs went out. They ripped the wires or whatever." So they're pretty robust. Except I have an actor who works with me, whose name is Chris Sloan. And you've seen him in the shop some. Every now and then he comes to the shop and helps out. But he could tear up an anvil with a rubber mallet. So he has broken in 2 separate masks the LED eyes. Now he's a little rough with stuff. He's a brute. He's a lovable brute. Or he's our brute, I should say. So I'm just going to twist all these guys together. Oh, lots of this. Okay. Okay, so Thuring Wethel 93. You have not done LEDs. Oh, sweet. Awesome, Vondelin. Harbor Freight's pretty good stuff, man. Could use something like a box cutter to remove the mouthpiece for a plastic mat. You know what? Yes, but you could also use a $3 soldering iron from Harbor Freight, and that'll melt it out, and you'd be able to sand it down and keep it a little cleaner. You know? Box cutter, it's pretty easy. Okay. So let's do a quickie lesson. All right. LEDs. Here's what's great about LEDs. They're hard to mess up because if it doesn't light up, like right now, I have one on each connection. It's not lighting up. It's right down there at the bottom of the screen. That means I have it reversed, and you're not going to blow it. A motor, if you hook it up reversed with power, then it'll blow up. But an LED, it still works fine. Still works great. I just reversed the polarity and it didn't work. So if it doesn't work, you have something switched around. So it's very free, and nice to be able to do that. So I'm just going to work backwards. I'm putting my battery cap on my battery. My battery is live. It's going to go in my battery box right here. And I keep knocking the LED down to the ground, I think. Awesome. Yes. Okay, so that's there. I need to come off of each of these LEDs. Yeah, LEDs are very forgiving wiring-wise. I'm coming off of each of these LEDs, and again, always keep your red wire on your copper if you buy this type. Because there's some that have, they say you can tell it because one side is ridge or there's one white stripe. That's so hard to track, especially like if I'm trying to fix this in a haunt setting. I want red wire, black wire, done, you know. I don't want to have to look for ridges or find this impossibly thin white stripe. All I did was I made this line longer. So I need this wire to be a little bit longer. Hello, Mike's Haunted Woodworks. That is Michael Skulberg. Good to see you on, buddy. I am wiring up some lids. And I'm doing the same thing to the other one. I'm just making this longer. So there we go. Making this one longer. Meaning copper colored speaker wire end to the red wire. And the other one to the black wire. I'm keeping like to like in this whole chain. At no point should that switch. So what we're doing is we're just pretending that these two leads coming off of the battery are those battery terminals. So just like I touched them before to see if it worked, I just touched those two wires right to the terminal leads. I'm wiring them on real quick and easy. This isn't my final attachment or anything, but I am twisting them on pretty good to see if this one lights up. It does, because I kept red to red the whole time. If I did mess it up and I put red on black, it doesn't light up, switch it and see what happens. Because it's LEDs, and they're very forgiving. And just right here, this same connection, I'm putting the next one on. Taking that red wire from that second LED eye. And then I'm going to take the other wire and put it on the other. So there's two wires coming together where we lengthen the LED, and there's three wires coming together where we combine them. These are three little currents of power, and they all mingle together to get this one little rig where these two eyes light up. And these are supposed to flicker. I don't have varying power issues or anything. These are flickering LEDs. Now, what I want to do here, I'm just going to put this in here. And on these guys, I do not solder them because the wire in its simplest, strongest form is the connection covered in plastic. So why would it not be okay to just recover that in some plastic? It is okay. So that's what I'm going to do. But I have to grab a little thing real quick. Okay. What happens when a non-detail guy is trying to show you detail work? I'm just setting these down against the helmet. I have my Supermondo hot glue. I put some hot glue underneath of each connection. I'm going to press these guys into that hot glue. Here's what I can't let happen. They can't touch. I'm using hot glue because I want to turn them back into plastic. It's going to be stronger if I just, coat them in hot glue. This connection is buried, under that mass of hot glue right there. Taking this tool that I actually Vaselined, I'm just going to set it down on top of it. Let it cool, let it get a nice, let it, even that out. And I'm watching my connections this whole time. So if I do anything wrong, one of these goes out, that's when I fix it. And now I have these guys sealed in hot glue. See that? They're underneath there. Let me see if I have a little piece of silicone. That would work even better. I have a silicone mat somewhere. Right here. Great. Okay. Even better than my little tool that I Vaselined, a silicone Silpat mat. Put a little bit more on. Press that down. Now's when I want to take a drink of something, but I don't have a drink. I knocked it over because my shop is a mess. Michael, I'm not sure what you're doing this weekend, but if you want to come by and hang out in the shop, you're more than welcome. I'm in here a lot this week. Since you don't have... How did Steampunk November go for you, sir? Okay. Chris, the Carolina Haunter, with an excellent question. How much power does an LED take? Roughly 20 milliamps. 20 milliamps. So 20 milliamps is what a LED takes. I have a video on how to wire LEDs. It's LED spotlights. How to make LED spotlights. So in that video, I actually give you the formula for, because your power supply is going to have amps on it. What amperage is your power supply? That's the question. And once you know what amperage your power supply is, then you're able to know how many lights you can put on a power supply. Not only, though, do you have to worry about your power supply, but you also have to worry about something called voltage drop. And voltage drop happens over distance. You're going to lose about an amp for every 175 feet of wire that you have. Now, I said that very exact. It could be, depending upon your thickness, your gauge of wire, it could be less. You might not have any voltage drop for 200 feet. Or if it's a cheaper speaker wire or real thin, you might get voltage drop at 100 feet. But roughly 150, 175, I tend to use the same kind of speaker wire all the time. So that's pretty consistent for me. And I drop about an amp over that. How many feet of wire do you have? By the end of it, if it's 175, you're going to have less amps by 1. Okay. Now I can really see where this is. Put it down in here. And I don't want these connections to move around. So am I locking them down? Yeah, of course. You don't want your wires flopping around in there. I'm going to go back and hot glue this whole wire all the way down. Scott is the man. Okay, it's 12 volt. Volts doesn't matter. Volts kind of matter. Amps really matter. Amps tells you how much you can do. Amps is what lets you know. Amps is why a 12 volt drill battery will not start your pickup truck, even though they're both 12 volt batteries. It's how many amps does it take? What's nice about this way is I really feel these are good, secure connections. Like I know that's not going to go anywhere, and I actually have plenty of room to get this in the eyeball and then treat this wire however I need to. That's right, blowing on it. That'll help. Yes, yeah, the thickness of wire has to do with your voltage drop. Yes, that is the main determining factor. You're shielding to some degree also, but the main factor is the thickness of your wire, the gauge of the wire that you are using. This is a Silpat mat, but boy is it dirty. It's what I make my teeth off of. Psycho Axeman, you mentioned my teeth video. I made it on this mat, so I could peel the hot glue up afterwards. Yeah, so Michael Skullberg, Haunted Woodworks, he has an amazing home haunted house. It is the biggest home haunt I've ever seen, as far as I know. Now, I'm sure that there's possible that there's bigger, but my goodness, what a freaking effort he does. He and his wife, they both work very hard on their haunted house because it's a great little haunt. It's me leaning on stuff. It's my job tonight. I'm holding this down. Make sure to do anything crazy. Actually,
While we're waiting here, I'm going to get myself another beverage.
for the record, that is not moonshine, it's just apple cider. Good night, Scott. Hi, Keith. So I said I'd have this guy done by 11:30. I was wrong. I've been wrong before. I'm okay with it. I'll have his helmet though. So now I'm just taking where this wire lays. Where the wire lays down. So I can put a line of hot glue there. Glue them down. And what's great is that all the wiring is on the other side of the EVA foam from the actor's head. So it'll be, there's one little bit of wire that's exposed, and that's it. Not a Rocketeer helmet, it's going to be a Krampus mask. Just have to get the LED into the eyes. And we're close. We're getting great. This is actually a nice little package. And this is what a lot of electronics inside look like. Little bits of hot glue and then a hot glue track that holds it down. I've taken part on the inside. It's all done with glue, really. Soldering those little connections, it's just not as, you destabilize the wire by heating it as much as you do fix it. Now let's put our face pack on. There we go. Pull one eye hole throughout. Now I'm feeding the LEDs through the back. Before I do anything else, I'm lining up the mask where it works well. And I marked it earlier when I had it on, so I knew how it lined up. Great. Now that that is there, I'm going to stick a couple T-pins in it. Away from where I think the wiring is. Don't want to stab right through my wire. It won't make, that's not a big deal if I do, but I don't want sweat to get in a little hole or anything like that. Opening the contact cement. Making it think about what it's done. And then I'll glue it onto the mask. I want this to actually dry, so I flip this over and I pin this down. Flip this over. Flip this over. So I can hit everything underneath with contact cement, and then I'll be able to flip it back. When it's dry and I flip it back, it's glued. It works. I have enough hanging out here to get my battery in and out, because the battery is how you turn this guy on and off. Very simple wiring. Krampuses, because they're mostly for parades and stuff, I don't want people to have to turn them on with a button every time. So I want their eyes to stay on a lot more than I do an actor mask, where I want them to be able to hide and stuff. A little bit of a different animal as far as their functionality. That is the last step for getting the mask attached to the helmet. Then I'll be able to attach the horns with contact cement. I'll do that tomorrow. And one more thing to do. Put this tongue on. Just put a good sized glob of hot glue on there from the hot glue gun that is cooling. Put the lid on the contact cement, or I will forget it. Come on, let's go over here. This guy has a tooth missing so I can fit the tongue in here. That's it. I want it to be held on with just a little bit of hot glue so that can be removed or unremoved. I sure do. I have that video, Dan Miles. It is. I have to look for my shop nights, and I think it says EVA foam helmet. How much does that gun produce an hour? I can put down a gallon of. Actually, I think it's like. If I recall, it's like 2.7 gallons of glue in an hour that I can put out of that gun. It's a crap ton of glue that gun will put down. I love my hot glue gun. Some tools I say buy cheap. Yes, woohoo, Harbor Freight all the way. Others, EVA foam. The tongue is just EVA foam. Shaped, heated, painted. Done. Boom, shalaka-laka. I'm going to hit it with one more coat of glossifier while this dries. All plastic dip cans look the same. So read. Luckily, this says glossifier. And if you want to know what color spray paint is without being able to see the cap or whatever, over the barcode is always where it says the color. There we go. It's a very wet-looking tongue now. Blah. All right, so I had a customer who ordered 3 Krampus masks. He's going to get this guy right here, LED eyes, this guy with LED eyes, and this guy with LED eyes. So those are all shipping out tomorrow morning. Before I get in the shop, I've got a quick run to make to ship some stuff. So all these guys are going out. Yeah. Keith, I think you just taught me something. The bottom of this can says glossifier number 526207041.50 EPA FLC is less than 1.60 CA / 67% VOC. So I did not know that it said that on the bottom of the can. But I also just learned that is a beautiful dish shape. That's like completely dished on the bottom of the glossifier can. So now I know if I'm hard pressed, I can use this as a mold for EVA foam. If I need an EVA foam dome, I can use that. Nice. That's something good to put in your toolbox. That's very cool, Keith. I did not know that. Is there a trick to getting more than one use out of a can of great stuff? You know what? The Great Stuff company themselves is trying to find the trick because they've come out with 4 or 5 different straws that are supposed to do it. The simplest way that always works is to unscrew that whole straw apparatus, throw it out, because it's going to harden inside of that, even the screw bit. And you'll be left with the screw top of the Great Stuff can. Wad that up with silicone caulk. And then the silicone caulk will form a nice tight seal. You can pull that off later. I've used duct tape on the end of the straw, but there's always an air leak, so it's not going to last a real long time. I've had a can of Great Stuff with silicone on the end last for a year and not be a big deal. Good morning, Mark. Okay, there we go. Volatile organic compounds. Sounds delicious. Now I want some Thanksgiving leftovers. I don't have to do any heat gunning, that's dry. I pinned it, so I know it's going to flop right back over in place. But I'm still going to check and make sure to line it up. Okay, this is on there now. That's solid. What I haven't done, this is attached. I haven't mounted the eyes in the holes. But I have plenty of wire to tuck anywhere I need to tuck and move that wire around. So yay. I'm going to finish this guy up tomorrow. I'm going to call it a night. It's just after 11:30. Tomorrow, certainly. I'll go live. I've got actually, my friend Rue is coming over tomorrow. He's going to help out in the shop some. And Alex Godwin is going to come and help. She's a costumer from Dark Hour. But this guy is going to end up with these. Ooh, shakalaka. Yeah, these are monster horns. I love them. Probably right like that. Sexy. But anyway. Anyway, all right. So enough with the funsies. Let's get at it. Oh, all right. So gang, what did we do today? We pretty much worked on that mask, didn't we? No, didn't I? Oh, let me show you what I did earlier. This mask, we put the horns on. We put these horns on it. These horns are from the same EVA foam pattern mold. And then we covered them in liquid nails. We put liquid nails all over it. And then I used a little comb type tool to make all those grooves so that the horns look like, those grooved animal horns. So we got this done today. We got this much of this done today. And then we got over on that one, we got the helmet done. On the other one, Keith, thank you so much for your generosity. I appreciate that, sir. That is very kind of you. Keith just threw money at me. All right, and the more I look at it, okay, the more I love the flicker of those LEDs in the eyes. Let me turn it towards you. And let me turn out the light. I'm going to turn out the light. I said I was leaving. Not quite yet. Yeah, the flicker makes it happen. These are the same lights that we use in our candles and stuff at dark hour. See how they're flickering? Now you guys get like the laser beams off of them and stuff, but I don't get that with in person. So I'm very happy. I think the eyes flickering makes a difference. And probably when I get over to my computer, I'm going to order myself some flickering eyes in different colors. Hope they have other colors that flicker. Because that just adds something to it that some others don't quite have as much of. Once I diffuse it too with hot glue in there, I think that's going to work great. All right, once again, have a good night, guys. You are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. $60 frickin' was given to me tonight for hanging out and talking and sharing mask love. But I appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who gave money. Still a little weird, but that's all right. Got to keep my pants on, so that's good. But anyway, go make stuff. You guys are great.